Yeah, that's right. Please excuse my nighttime lighting because I'm going to tell you some horror stories, which I probably will be. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Growing Up. Today I'm going to be talking about my postpartum story. I kind of just wanted to talk about this because I feel like nobody talks about the fourth trimester. There's so much about it that's difficult that I feel is way more difficult than the pregnancy itself. But somehow, I don't know why no one talks about it, because the entire time I was pregnant, people were just prepping me for, hey, you know, morning sickness, you're gonna have to go to the toilet multiple times, and things like this, but nobody talks about what happens after. They would just make jokes about all the best to not sleeping. And then you just think, oh, you're just not gonna be able to sleep. But no, it's worse than that. And so I made this video a while back where I was reviewing my pregnancy. I filmed it at about 38 weeks or something. And looking back on that right now, I feel like that review of my pregnancy technically wasn't the most accurate picture because I did not include the fourth trimester, which I feel is really a big part of like the entire pregnancy process. Process? Do people call pregnancy a process? Oh no, wait. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my postpartum story. But I don't want this to be like a spill my trauma kind of session. Like, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about it and later on also share how I overcame it, and hopefully it will be encouraging to anyone out there who's either been through postpartum difficulties or going through it right now, or you might go through it in the future. So let's talk about what happened after I gave birth. People say giving birth is the most painful thing ever, but let me just tell you, I didn't feel a thing because I was on the epidural. So I got induced basically because it was really the week in which the baby was supposed to be due, but I was not really dilated. And I gave birth a lot faster than expected. My entire labor was maybe about, 6 hours, and the delivery itself was about 20-30 minutes. Which is very, very good for especially a first pregnancy. I didn't even go through a lot of difficulties, like hours of contractions. It was just very bad cramps, and I just tolerated it for a while until the epidural came. When I gave birth, I just thought, oh wow, this wasn't as bad as they said it would be. So everything was okay. They stitched me up because you know that, not to scare y'all, but 90% of Asian women require stitching after giving birth. If this is too graphic for you, you can feel free to pause the video or like not watch it anymore. So I still didn't feel a thing, and then so they wheeled me to my room and I was like it was fine, and then they said okay, just get some sleep, and then so I got some sleep. Then I think around a couple hours later maybe, I woke up to the most excruciating pain ever. But little did I know that this was not even the most pain I would have felt, okay? Nurses came in and everything. Long story short, I thought it was my stitched up wound basically that was hurting me. They spammed me with painkillers the whole night. I was still in pain and taking painkillers every few hours, and I barely slept. And the next morning, the doctor came in and he checked me out, and he said that it's very likely when my baby was on the way out, he impacted my tailbone. Basically, when I stood up or sat down or like even turned, there was this sharp pain through my tailbone, and it felt as if I fell on my tailbone but on the inside. It was such a crazy pain on top of the pain of the stitches. It was just so bad. I couldn't move for the next few days. I could barely go to the bathroom. Yeah, on the third day I went home. And when I got home, basically what the doctor put me on as well was laxatives because I had not pooped in 2 days, okay? I didn't think that was really that much of a big of a deal until that third day plus. My tailbone pain was starting to hurt more often than it should, because normally it would only hurt when I moved around or when I got up. But after a while, even when I was sitting down, it should like randomly throb. And it's because the weight of the poop was just there, pressing onto my tailbone. So I had to take laxatives and then just go to the bathroom. And it was the most painful thing of my life, okay? That was the real labor. That was me giving birth to my poop baby. It was so painful. I remember I was like crying. I was straight up bawling in the toilet. thinking, wow, okay, I skipped out on the pain of childbirth, and you see, even the lizard is mocking me. I skipped out on the pain of childbirth, and I felt like this is my retribution. Then next, breastfeeding. And it's not like this happened and then, oh, next. Just imagine every next thing that I'm talking to you about that I struggled with were all compounded. They just stacked on top of each other, okay? They did not happen one at a time. So once I got home, because I had milk, I had to just keep waking up in the middle of the night, and I was not used to that. It was so tiring. And you just feel like a cow. Expressing milk every 3 hours of your life. You just really feel like a cow all day long. That was also a very tough journey on its own because I had an injury on one of my boobs because it's just tough trying to figure this out for the first time. I had a blister and I was trying to still breastfeed my baby, and I think one thing that was really frustrating for me also was that we had a lactation consultant come in and she gave some advice and she said it'll go away in 2 days. And then it did not go away in 2 days. And then I called another lactation consultant to come and she said the same thing. And then we called a third person and it again didn't work. It was just very frustrating because you feel like you're just going to be injured forever while you still have to pump your milk. Because the thing is that you can't completely stop pumping your milk because then you'll get engorged. So if I want to prevent my injury, I want to stop my injury from getting worse, I can't aggravate it. But if I completely stop, then I might get a clogged duct and get mastitis. Because basically mastitis is an infection from a clogged duct. Like there's an inflammation that causes a whole infection. And so I was so afraid that would happen because I've heard so many horror stories about mastitis. It was a crazy catch-22 and that was frustrating the hell out of me. So for instance, let's say I scratch your hand, like there's a cut on your arm. And in order for that cut to heal, you have to just leave it alone, right? Let it recover. But no, I'm asking you to rub it every few hours. Just rub it, just scratch it again every few hours. How is your wound gonna heal, right? But then if you don't scratch it every few hours, you'll get a bruise somewhere else. There was one time where I went to the doctor and I felt a clot. And he said that if I had come just 1 day late, I would have gotten mastitis. So then let's move on to the next thing, which was like body image stuff. I was really feeling so much terrible emotions from everything, right? I think I just didn't want to think so much about my body. And I think growing up, I always took the approach of, I don't want to think about my body because I think like I had a mom who was, I think it's a very Asian mother thing. I don't know. They just think that they're doing you good if they comment on your body. So every now and then it'll be like, oh, why are you so fat today? Nowadays you're very skinny. Oh, why do you have a belly? Things like that. I just try not to think so much about a lot of all these comments because I felt like I would otherwise be really affected. So I just always detached myself. And especially during pregnancy as well, I just kept suppressing it. And I think because I kept suppressing it, by the time after I gave birth, it just hit me as a wave of, gosh, like I look terrible. And I would say an example of one of the moments where I could tell that I was getting a little affected by it, which I normally wouldn't, was I did this video with Mong. She came on my channel and we did a video together. And then we did another video for her channel as well. And for that day, I actually just prepared one outfit. But then when we decided to shoot her video, she just thought like, oh, why don't we just change clothes? And I thought, okay, sure, I'll go behind, since we were at my place, I'll go behind and grab something to wear. But I didn't really prepare what to wear for my second outfit. So I just threw on a t-shirt and jeans. And then turns out because I had never worn the outfit and looked thoroughly enough in the mirror before, I could really see that I had like that baby bump. And I was just so affected by it. And then I just told her like, I'm sorry, but can you maybe try to make it less obvious? And she was so sweet about it. She kind of like cropped the video a bit so that you could not really see much of my belly. And then so I just didn't think much of it. I just put that at the back of my head. But after giving birth, right, you just feel like a blob. And then let's talk about weakened immunity, right? So this one, I'm just throwing this in, but this mainly happened much later, not really in my 4th trimester. It actually started to kick in after my confinement. I stayed home for about 2 months-ish and I barely went out only a bit, like to do one shoot and like one performance or something. So after the 4th trimester, when Wes was 3 to 9 months, in that period of 6 months, I fell sick about 5 times, 4 to 5 times. It was so bad. I'll fall sick and then get better and then I'll fall sick again. And the whole time I was trying to exercise as well. And it was very discouraging because, like I said, I felt very gross, right? So I'll try to exercise and then it wouldn't work because I'll fall sick. And then the cycle just repeats. And so to top it all off, the boss of all my issues, postnatal blues. So thank God, I didn't have full-on postpartum depression. I had this for just a few weeks, like postnatal blues. And it started innocuously enough. I was just a little cranky. And then at the beginning when I first came home, little things would trigger me. I'll ask a helper to do something and she did it a bit wrong. And I wouldn't get angry, It's not like I even yelled at anyone. I'll just be saying like, no, this is not what I asked for. Why can't you just give me the correct thing? And I just start crying. I don't know, I'll cry over things like the breastfeeding. And I think stacked on top of that also, what continued to make this worse was it was just a lot of cabin fever. I hate staying in a room for more than 1 day or even 2 days. But because this time I was just so unmotivated already and I was just in so much pain that I just stayed there. And because my confinement nanny, who was so great by the way, she was making me a lot of like food and taking care of me. And I think the cabin fever just made me feel even more depressed. And the inability to work also just made me feel very unhappy. I think because I enjoy work, and to suddenly be thrown out of that routine that I had and to be doing something completely different, it wasn't just stopping work for a bit, it's like replacing it with a new kind of work. And so I just felt just so overwhelmed. Yeah, that was really, really hard. And so it came to a point where there was this almost a week, right, where I'll just start crying and crying and crying. And even if I told myself like, okay, just stop crying now, I just couldn't. It would just I will uncontrollably be crying for a whole day. But I'm so thankful that it's over now. And I'm going to share with you guys a few things that helped me get through that really difficult period. So one thing that was really a big step in helping me get better was just overcoming the physical pain. And that took nothing but just seriously pure time. I think when you are able to literally have freedom in your physical movement, it really helps in giving you freedom mentally as well. And the next thing was also just managing my breastfeeding schedule and slowly, eventually weaning it off. And within that period, I had a really good breast masseuse that really helped me out also. So she came along after the third lactation consultant that gave me advice that didn't work. And it's because I was talking to one of my other friends and she recommended this lady called Jess to me. And I figured if all these lactation consultants who come and give me lip service doesn't work, then maybe I'll get someone who can actually physically try and help me feel better. And yeah, so she really helped me out in terms of managing the schedules of like timings. And I took like lecithin, which is like a supplement to help to thin down the milk to prevent clogs. So I stopped breastfeeding at about 4 months plus. And of course there was a bit of guilt that also came in after I stopped breastfeeding. But after so long, right, and speaking to so many moms, I felt that actually everyone is different and every single person, their lifestyle is different and how much they can take is different and how they react to things is different. At the end of the day, you must put your own mental health first. That's how you can function and do everything else and take care of your baby, right? And personally, I was not a breastfed baby at all, which technically wasn't a good thing because I fell sick a lot when I was growing up. I think my sister had about 2 months of breastfeeding or something. I barely had any. And so she didn't really fall sick as much. So by that standard, I think my son is safe because he drank 4 months, right? Either way, every day I'll just pray that he'll grow up strong and healthy. I really just realized that having moms around you is so important. I had a few mom friends around me and it was so sweet how talking to them really just helped me get through a lot of difficult times. And just us sharing experiences with each other and just knowing that you're not alone. And then there was also this one incident where it was so helpful for me. It was really just like a word that I needed at that point in time. I was trying not to use social media because I was just in such a bad place. And I remember this was the day where I was just crying for a whole day. Like that was really the worst day of my blues. And I remember I just opened Instagram for no reason that night. I think because I had just nothing else to do. I was just so sick of crying. And the first post that showed up was a post by Choo Choo If you guys know Bong Chu Chu. She posted about how her daughter bought her crab sticks from school. Her daughter's now in primary school, okay? And then she posted this photo of her 6 years ago when she was still in preschool. And she said that period was really a dark time for her and she couldn't imagine any better days. And she said now 6 years on, I understand what is the rainbow after a rain and you just have to wait it out. And I just like started crying because I just felt, okay, I'm also now going through this really difficult rainy period of my life and I guess I would just need to wait it out. And I just felt like it was such a divine moment. Like God sent this post to be read by me. Like how could it be that night when I decided to open my Instagram after a few days, the first post that came out was this, of all other random things that I follow, you know. I feel sometimes as Christians, we feel as if, oh, it has to be a Bible verse to come as a word that you need. But sometimes it can just be a random story about your friend and her daughter's crab sticks. And so that really encouraged me. That was really nice. Yeah, oh no, I think about it now, I want to cry also. Okay, let's not think about it. Let's just move on. And then there was this other song also that really tided me over. There was this song called In Jesus' Name by Katie Nichols. And that was actually the song that Wes was born to. So I created this push playlist, right? Where I played a whole playlist of songs during my delivery, really. And during this song, Wes was born. And I think really in my darkest times, right? I just didn't even have the strength nor energy to even pray for myself. Nor did I even have the strength or energy to even say anything. And to hear a song that was really just a prayer over me, right? I just felt someone was helping me pray when I couldn't. So I'm also very thankful for Raf because he was also very supportive during the whole period. And then I think at the 4th month mark, which was when I kind of started to wean off my breastfeeding, he planned a trip where we could go to Japan and just chill. And so I managed to chill that trip. And that was the first trip where I really got out and took a real break outside of my room. One more thing that really helped me feel better also was learning to dress in a way that would make me feel better about myself. I think I never really thought so much about clothes that you put on. I would just buy stuff and then when I had to put them on, I'd put them on. But because of that whole period where I started to just feel gross and ugly, I started to think a lot more about wearing things that make you feel good. And I realized it was more important sometimes to buy clothes that are of a certain fabric or a certain proportion of fit that really just makes you feel better about yourself rather than something that looks very nice on the rack. So I guess that in some sense is a bit of a blessing in disguise because I think I'm a lot more intentional in shopping for like fashion and things like that right now. I started to take up Pilates as well because I realized one thing that really made me feel not good about myself was the fact that I think the pregnancy really destroyed a lot of my posture and a lot of my core, and it really destroyed my balance also. For some weird reason, I was kind of like feeling very off balance, which I thought I would feel that way during the pregnancy itself, especially towards the end when my belly was big. But I was quite okay at that period. It was suddenly when I lost all that weight and then it just felt like, you know, I was a deflated balloon and I didn't know where to go. You know, those wind tube man things? Yeah, that felt like me. I felt at least when I was pregnant, something was in there holding it up. There was some stuffing in there, but then you remove all the stuffing and now I just, whoo. And so I think Pilates really helped because it helped to fix a lot of my issues and I didn't have aches anymore. And I started to take a lot of vitamin C as well, immunity supplements, because like I said at the beginning, I'll try to exercise a bit and then I'll fall sick and then I'll have to restart again from square one. So if anyone who is just stepping into your 4th trimester or just gave birth, please take immunity supplements. But yeah, lastly, I would say I think one thing that made everything worth it and it's really the joy of seeing my baby grow up. So as much as I share about all these different moments, right? Every single time I'm just carrying the baby, I'm just looking at him and he's just laughing. I just feel so happy. I don't know how to explain it, but you just want to give your whole world to this baby. And I think after having this kid, you learn that, you know how they always say it's always better to give than to receive. You receive more joy when you give than when you get things, right? I don't think this is a revelation that you need to have a kid to realize. I'm sure you can discover this in your own way also, especially if you don't want to have kids or anything. But for me, it was just, I see this baby and I just want to give him the whole world because I know it's going to make me happy. Like, just take everything I have. Take all my money, take my house, take my credit card. It's all yours. I think after I slowly got better and I overcame the different obstacles bit by bit, I would say this joy of watching my baby grow up really just supersedes everything else. So I'm just gonna do some closing thoughts to this video. So I feel by the time this video goes out, Wes will be 1 year old. Insane, right? Can you believe it? 1 year. And yeah, I'm in a much better place now, and I just wanted to make this video 1 year on. For anyone who's probably going through some difficult postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety or even just postnatal blues, right? I just want you to know that things really, really will get better. And you might be in a position like me back then where I just felt that was so hard to imagine. I was really just crying every single day. But I will be praying for you. And if you want to give up breastfeeding, it's okay, just give it up, it's fine. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty about it. And if there's anyone out there who is been through any similar experiences and you have also overcome it, you can also share it in the comments, and hopefully it will also encourage someone out there who might need your word of encouragement. And if you have any other questions as well about my postpartum journey, you can also always ask me in the comments below. Hi baby, you look at the camera. Hi. Alright, so here he is. Once again guys, sorry about the horror story lighting. Yeah, that's right. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, do subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see y'all in another episode soon of Blowing Up. Bye! Okay, why don't you stand? You wanna stand? Okay, say bye! You wanna cut your hands? Yeah! Okay. Okay. Bye!